You're listening to the Indie Echo Podcast, a showcase of independent music and the artists that make it. I'm Jordan, producer at High Five Music. The strikingly red-haired Leona May is a singer-songwriter from England. She's just released her first EP, Talking to Myself.
And I'm doing fine. Talking to myself, I just drive away. The road had never changed, so I crashed into a bridge. Some say it's the only way to live.
Welcome to the show. I've been having
Hiya,
your
thanks for having me. Thank you.
EP on repeat this weekend, and it's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
So how's the reaction been from your friends and family after getting it out?
Yeah, it's been really good, thanks. Because I've been sitting on these songs for ages because I recorded them about a year ago, and then obviously lockdown, all that kind of stuff. It got so delayed, and so I've been listening to them for ages, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what people will think. But yeah, people seem to really like it, and I just love hearing which ones people's favorites are. It's like my favorite question. So that's it's interesting to hear, and yeah, I like it.
When you've written songs so long ago, like you still love them, but I'm sure you get kind of sick of them at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the thing. Like, oh yeah, because I've written so many more over lockdown. There's a lot of new songs that I'm really loving. So there is elements of that for sure. Everyone gets that. But no, I'm really glad to have them out though. It's nice to finally have them on Spotify rather than my notes.
Yeah, it comes in cycles. Like you love the songs, and then you're sick of them. Then people actually hear them, you fall in love with them all over again.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there one standout that people seem to really be gravitating to?
There's two that I've heard. The number one people like is Blue, from what I've heard, which is really cool because that was the one on the EP that I produced myself, which I'd never done before. So that was really cool. And definitely the most like honest and vulnerable song. And the other one is Feelings. I think people just like an upbeat song sometimes, so I like Feelings as well. Yeah. Hi, I'm Leona May, and I'm from Hertfordshire, which is just north outside of London. And who I listened to growing up, 100% Taylor Swift. Everyone that knows me knows I'm obsessed with her. So yeah, I grew up on Taylor Swift, basically solely. Now I love a lot of people now. Maisie Peters, Lennon Stella, the Beatles. Yeah, so much.
And were you writing young as well?
Yeah, pretty young. That was always my first interest. I think from when I was about 7 or so, and I got my first guitar and I started some guitar lessons. I picked up writing in terms of interest wise quite young. So that's always been my number one thing. And
that eventually led you to the Brit School. So for people who don't know, what is the Brit School?
Yeah, so the Brit School is a performing arts college in London. You can go there for sixth form. So instead of staying on at my old school, which is just normal A-levels, physics, maths, all that, I decided to just do full-time music, which is kind of scary, but yeah, I'm really glad I did it. It's a lot of fun. So you get to just perform, work with other people, have classes on music, have guest speakers. It's just really fun.
Because there's an audition process, right? It's not just, and it's free, which I didn't know, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because it's free as well. Well, it's great that it's free because then it means there's no barriers in terms of like diversity of people, like anyone can come. So it's not just the people that have been given opportunity with money and so forth. But yeah, the audition process was actually quite long. I mean, you sang a cover, you showed your originals, you had to give a presentation about yourself, you had an oral test, they'd play you stuff and they'd be like, what's this called? And a written paper. So that was quite a lot. I remember I stayed in a hotel the night before because I was like, I don't want to drive up early. So I properly prepared and everything.
You said you have to pick out what chords they are. So that was the written part, or is it oral? Like you have to hear
oral part, yeah. I remember I was in the room Yeah, they played a chord and then they were like, sing the first note and sing the middle note of this chord, and I was like, okay.
Wow.
Sorry. But to be honest, I don't think they focus that much on theory. I think they sort of gauge where you're at, but the impression I get, it definitely is more about the stuff you create. Like, they're really interested in original music, to be honest, I think.
Where did Burn come into the picture? Was that your very first single?
I always forget about Burn. Yeah, that was my first single. I think I wrote it when I was 14 or 15, and then I can't remember when I put it out, but I think I was 16, just turned 16. So yeah, that was the first song I put out, and I got it done, produced professionally, which I hadn't done before, which was really fun, in the studio in London. And yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, first song I put out. But yeah, it was the sound. I hadn't really established a sound yet, so it was quite electronic sounding in a way. I've definitely found a style that I like more now, though.
In the words of a love song, singing the blues so let it rain and wash the words away.
Yeah, it's a lot more pop in terms of the production and stuff than what you're releasing now. So was it just a lot of trial and error in terms of finding your sound? Because a lot of people I have on the show, they've either found their sound or they're like, no, I'm just kind of trying things out and seeing what works.
Yeah, I'm trying things out still. Like this EP, I feel is a fairly concise sound. I mean, there's it's kind of more upbeat, and yeah, a lot of the songs are more upbeat, and I feel like it fits into a sort of genre. But even from then, and now over lockdown, I've written basically Phoebe Bridgers style folk songs that are super sad and depressing. And now I'm really liking that sound. And I feel like that might be more what I'm into. So even from this EP, what I'm going to do next will be sort of different. But I quite like that because I like the idea of having music that you can listen to in different moods and stuff.
Talk about your collaboration with Luke White and how that came about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was so fun. So we actually met online. Sounds weird, and then we found out we live in the same county, Hertfordshire, and we just did a Zoom songwriting session in lockdown, and that was the first song we wrote, the song that's out now, which is called Love is Simple Till It Bites Back. And it took a fair few sessions, more than usual, because we wanted to make sure we revisited it, which was good because that's not something I always do, to make sure it was perfect. But yeah, we've written lots since then though, and definitely some stuff we're gonna put out. So yeah, excited.
All the words of our love songs on the floor, stood by, gave it all I had, but you couldn't see that, did I? Tried too much, no I couldn't face facts. Love is simple till it fights back.
And was that your first time collaborating in that way?
Not basically one of my first times. I've done it a few times before, but the songs were sort of okay and not something that I was really excited about. But this, when we wrote it, we were like, yeah, this is really cool. And obviously usually with songwriting collaborations, one person will take the song, but with this we thought it would suit being a duet, and we both sang, and we found that our voices work well together, so we were like, this is perfect.
Yes, very, very lovely song. And in terms of the actual songwriting process, was it just helpful to have a second ear there to help along?
Yeah, definitely. It was really easy as well. Sometimes songwriting can be a bit disjointed and you're too worried about offending the other person, but it wasn't like that at all. And yeah, it was good because one of us would have a lyric and the other one would be like, no, we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better. So it was good.
Just a lot of sitting on the couch. Is this anything? What
yeah,
about this one?
Definitely. We had quite a lot of Zoom calls over the lyrics.
Yeah. And so that leads us to your EP, Talking to Myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what made you think this is the time to do an EP?
after, what was the last release? I think it was a year prior I'd released something, and then for a year I'd been collecting and writing songs, and I had quite a few. And so I picked my favorite ones, and I was like, oh, I think I should put them in a collection because I have quite a few now, and I think it'd be cool to put the ones in a similar style and just put them all in a project. So I sort of recorded each one individually with different people. It took quite a while, and I was like, yeah, I haven't put out an EP yet, and I feel like it's the time.
And so Talks Too Much was the lead single. What made you say this is the first one people need to hear?
Well, feedback from other people, I think. Firstly, mainly my parents. They were like, oh yeah, we think this one is cool because it's like upbeat. People love an upbeat song, I've really come to find. And the writing of that one came so easily, and songs that come easier I find are my better ones. So yeah, it was my favorite song. So yeah, favorite song, upbeat, and people reacted well to it, so that's why I chose it to be the lead single.
Listen to me, and don't talk down until we're lying on the bedroom floor, and feel this energy run through my hands to yours. Oh, don't talk, and we'll do this all night long. No, don't talk.
In terms of like the guitar style and stuff, there's some, maybe this is a coincidence, but there's some like Latin influence. Is that intentional?
Yeah, no, there is, isn't there? I literally don't know where that came from because I don't listen to that type of music at all. But I think it's the chord pattern because I have this E7 that I use often in that song and a couple of others on the EP. And it was just a chord. I get attached to chord sequences and then I write a lot of song in that style. So I think that's it. But because I wanted to make it upbeat, I sort of did this slapping, strumming pattern, which added to the Spanish-y type feel. But yeah, people
especially in the bridge.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It is a really fun song, and sometimes, the emotional songs, they just kind of, they're easy to pour out. So sometimes the fun ones can be more difficult. And is that what you find as well?
100%. Like, they are a lot. Upbeat songs are so much harder to write. That's why, I can never write happy upbeat songs. So they're always about a different subject matter. If I write happy songs that aren't cheesy, I find it's easier to write them, basically. And also when you add chords that have a bit of an edge to them, it also makes them less cheesy. So it's easier to write it and not hate it and cringe at yourself. So yeah, top tip I would say is writing them with like minor chords and seventh chords.
Okay. And was there a most difficult part of putting the EP together?
Trying to produce them all, because I basically was just trying out producers because I don't really know that many. And I was basically trying out a few different people, and trying to tie it all together in terms of actually getting it done was definitely the hardest bit. And also then after you produce it, you got to mix and master it. And for this project, I used different people to mix and master. So organizing that and making sure that all the songs, even though overall they were from 3 different producers, all had the same level and sort of mix at the end, because when they're from such different places, you want them to sound tied together still.
And so the next track is Feelings, which is one of the fan favorites.
So I've been told. That was a fun one. I wrote that just off the chords. It's I think I was learning You've Got a Friend in Me or something by Randy Newman for a set, and I was like, I kind of like this vibe. And I sort of used similar chords, and I wanted to write a fun song basically. And I wrote that verse first, and I really liked the lyrics because they sort of flow over the lines into each other. And then I struggled for a year to write a chorus. Literally, I wrote so many different choruses and I was like, don't really like any. And then, literally a year later, I wrote the chorus to that. So it was probably the song that took the longest to write. But I think it's just like a fun song. And I like the idea of, I don't want to be your friend. I want to be so much more as a tagline. So yeah.
And I wanna talk about your feelings. Do you see this? just in my head. Don't wanna be your friend.
Yeah, great hook in that one. And I like the walking bass line. Just doom,
Oh, yeah.
doom, doom.
Yeah, my dad fought to get that in actually, because
Really?
we just had the guitar, and then he was like, no, add a walking bass line.
Nice. He's musical as well?
He did, when I was growing up, he played guitar, but not really. When he grew up, he played the electric guitar and the saxophone, but not anymore, unfortunately. I should get him to get that up again, because it was quite nice hearing like the Beatles flowing down the stairs from his bedroom. But yeah, not so much.
And then you go into If This Is Love, which might be my favorite. It's either that or Blue.
Oh,
I keep
cool.
going back and forth because
Yeah.
I love the chorus in Blue, but If This Is Love is just really, really lovely.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, that was weird. I was never even considering that for the EP. And then I played Katie, who produced that song, maybe 7 songs of mine, and she was like, that's my favorite, definitely do that. And I was like, really? I was about to tell you don't do that. Like, I was like, no, but she was like, oh no, it's really cool. And then I was like, oh, maybe it is quite a nice song. So when we added all the harmonies, that's when I was like, oh yeah, because I love harmonies. So at the end of the song, there's just a wall of sound. There's so many layers as well that you can't particularly hear, but probably with headphones you can sense the atmosphere of. There's just a lot of layers, which I really like.
No, I don't know if this is love I'm feeling, but I could feel it forever. No, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to miss you quite as much as I do whenever. But this I know, that I want us forever.
Writing and putting together harmonies, are they something you're thinking about from the outset, or are they kind of, not to put down an afterthought, but like something you add towards the end?
Oh yeah, definitely something at the end. Like, we record the whole song in terms of guitar, piano, and vocal, and then all the harmonies and ad-libs we think of at the end, which is quite weird sometimes, because sometimes the harmonies are like become a massive part of the song. Like in that song, there's a whole section just dedicated to some ooze, which was never part of the plan. So we rewrote the song at the end when we decided to add all of those harmonies, which was like a new thing.
Does all of that come from some of your musical training at Brit, or is it just more intuition at this point? Like, this would sound good with this lead vocal.
I think intuition. I'm not very theory based, so I don't think of anything in terms of, let's do the root, the third and the fifth. I just sing what I think will sound good. I listen to a lot of country music, so they have lots of like thirds naturally in that anyway, so I always do a third up. But yeah, I don't think of it methodically. So.
And then Blue, the other fan favorite. So how did that one come
Blue.
about?
Oh yeah, I mean, one night I was just feeling a bit down. Sometimes when you're just like, oh, this is just an off day. So I was like, whenever I'm feeling like that, I always feel in the mood to write songs. So I just wrote that song about that feeling. And then I was like, this is quite a chill song. It won't need much production. I'm going to give it a go myself. And then it actually came quite easily. In terms of my ideas for it, I added like just strings, piano, lots of harmonies, and yeah, I really like producing that one.
So I'll lie there, half the world away, movies on replay, in my mind wishing I was someone else today. I'll lie there, wondering what to do, knowing in the morning I can shake this feeling through. But for now, it's okay to be blue.
I kept going back and just thinking, oh no, this sounds a bit off, especially with the vocal harmonies. Like, I'd sort of book a session in my day to just go into my wardrobe, because my mic's in my wardrobe, and spend 2 or 3 hours recording all the vocals, and then go downstairs and listen to them back and make a comp. And then I was like, oh no, I need to go back. And then the next day I'd go back. So I definitely revisited the wardrobe more times than I thought I would. But yeah, more time consuming than I thought in terms of vocals. But the other stuff came all right, I think.
And is production part of your curriculum, or is that like a separate track?
Yeah, that is part. It's quite a minor part though, because we have music and music tech as 2 courses at school.
Okay.
So just a few lessons here and there.
Then Talking to Myself, the title track, is how you close. You kind of have like an upbeat sandwich with your EP. So
yeah, that was the plan.
The front and end, yeah. Okay, so it was built in that way.
Yeah, I wanted to end it with an upbeat starting and ending track. But that song I've been doing for a while live, and I always loop the hook in. So the da 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 da. I play a bass on my guitar, and then I've loop it in with my vocals. So I've been doing that live for ages. So I kind of wanted to end the EP on that one, because it just ends with da 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 da, and I quite liked just how that sounded at the very end. Yeah.
Yeah, and similar to that, with Talks Too Much starting the EP, Talks Too Much starts in the song. There's no real intro or anything. You're kind of right into it, so you kind of end it the same way. That's cool.
Yeah.
What would you say? Well, was there a song that took the longest to put together, from like conception to reality?
Actually, probably Talking to Myself at the end, because there's a lot of layers that you don't particularly see. But for example, recording the guitar, I did it all just through a mic and stuff. And when you're recording acoustic guitar, it's really easy to just catch a note here and there. And all that took quite a lot of retries. I don't think you particularly hear it, but like each guitar part has like 4 or sometimes even 8 layers. So it just pans around your ears. So timing each take exactly with the strums took ages.
From your first singles to now, what would you say you've learned generally as a songwriter? Your growth in terms of being able to put songs together, what has that been like?
I've definitely learned a lot in the past few years. I've been taking some songwriting courses here and there, and the biggest thing I've come away with is contrast is key. So like if the verse is low, the chorus has got to be high. If the verse is really wordy, the chorus has got to be sparse. So for example, in If This Is Love, the verse is a bit more wordy. So then in the chorus, it's just a few lines, to be honest. It wasn't always like that, but then I had to remind myself, I was like, no, the verse is a bit crammed, the chorus can't be. So definitely that. I tried to make it as varied as possible to keep interest.
That is actually a great tip. And I have noticed that from like other artists, and sometimes like a major pop song, it'll be, really, really fast verses, and the chorus is just like 3 words or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you gotta do.
Do you have a go-to process in terms of songwriting? Like, do you start with the chords? You said you like the chords of like Randy Newman and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do. I always start with the chords. I'm not one to write lyrics and then find a melody, because otherwise I can't really find one that works. I usually hum a melody, and then lyrics will naturally fall like within the placement of the melody. But yeah, always get sort of a vibe or energy going on the guitar or piano first, definitely. Well, I'd really like to play a lot more shows and build myself up as a live act. Now that COVID's over, I'm starting to do that more and more, but and sort of background music gigs, but I definitely like to do more as an artist. Songwriting is such a massive thing that I'd love to do, so I really would like to write for other people more, because that's something I want to do forever. And like as a songwriter, you can sort of, there's no limit on that, whereas as a pop star, of course, there's a lot of focus on image and staying young and all this, and so being a songwriter you can do forever, which is cool. So I love writing for other people, so I want to do more of that for sure.
Great. I was going to ask you about that actually, and There's no shortage of potential, songwriters in your school too. So that's one of the cool things about having everybody in one place. And what would you say is like a career highlight of yours so far?
It was so long ago, so it's depressing because I want to do it again. But when I was 14, I won a songwriting competition in my county, and I got to perform my song at the Royal Albert Hall, which was pretty cool, with a full band. So I'd never played with anyone before, and I had drummer, electric guitarist, a bassist, a pianist, a backing singer, and I got to perform to like thousands of people. It was so cool.
Awesome. Well, you'll be there eventually, I'm sure.
Hopefully one day.
Who would be like a dream collaborator of yours? Would it be just the usual suspects, the Taylors?
I would say Taylor's. Well, Taylor Swift's the obvious answer, and she is. But there's a lot. Okay, actually, there's this singer called Charlie Adams who I'm obsessed with. I've been loving her voice and her music for quite a few years. And she's like an up-and-coming artist. She's quite established though, and I would love to work with her. Like, to sing a song with her would be great, because I've definitely taken a lot of inspiration from her vocal style. So yeah, it'd be great to sing with her.
Cool. And she might be one of the answers here, but who's like someone you're following that hasn't really caught on yet that you're really excited about?
Quite a few people like come up and coming that I'm loving. Charlie Adams, definitely. Lindsay Lomas from Nashville. She's my age though, so it's very depressing because she's doing really well, but she's amazing. Ella Jane, I found her through TikTok. I'm sure quite a lot of people know who she is, but she just put out a song called...
familiar, yeah.
She just put out a song called Calling Card, which is, so you should definitely check it out. It's an amazing song. She's really cool.
Is there like a central theme or message you want someone to take away from your EP?
Not from the whole EP, to be honest. I haven't sort of tied in a whole theme with the whole thing, like a conceptual album or anything. No, I try to make sort of each song different, just to be interesting to listen to. So I guess an EP that you'll always like something on it, I guess. But it is cool with EPs because there's definitely a central theme. Like with Charlie Adams, there's this EP that I listened to that she released years ago, but it's like it all encapsulates this one sound. I don't know what it is. It's the instrument she uses, the tone of voice she has, but it's like a whole just project in itself. And then everything she's done since then is like different, but she always has that collection of songs that all tie in together.
Do you have any upcoming gigs you want to plug?
Yeah, well, I've got I've got one. You'd have to be in Hertfordshire, but I'm playing this festival at Tring on the 4th of December. If you're in Hertfordshire, that's going to be really fun. It's going to be a Christmas festival, which I love playing Christmas shows, so that will be good. I'm always busking in St Albans every weekend, but yeah, that festival is the main one. It's going to be fun. It's like a fairly big stage, which is always fun, because usually I'm in pubs, so it's going to be good. Yeah.
Who have you seen live? Like which concerts? Probably not anything recently, but
yeah. Oh well, I always got a concert ticket for my birthday, so I've been to a few, and they're so much fun. Taylor Swift, obviously my favorite. I saw her, my first ever concert was her Red one, and most recently I saw her Reputation tour, and I feel like I was right up in the gods. I was so far away, but that was insane, that show. Everything about it, the performance, the props, the costumes are so good. But most recently I went to Reading Festival, which is a big festival in England. Yeah, you probably know about it. And Maisie Peters, who is one of my favorite artists of all time, she did a surprise set there, so I was only a few meters away from her and I knew every single word. So to be honest, that's probably my favorite. Yeah,
she probably has one of my favorite albums of the year, for sure.
You signed up for this, isn't it so good?
Yeah.
What's your favorite song off it?
Interestingly, I love the album, but nothing tops John Hughes Movie for me. It's just a perfect song, start to finish.
John Hughes Movie always slaps. Whenever it comes on, it's always good.
But I like what she does in the middle, because a lot of albums, even I was listening to like the new Billy album, where there's just a lot of songs, and sometimes there's like a lull in the middle, where it's just like a few okay ones. But Maisie, she has what is it? It's Hollow Boy and one other villain, and it just three bangers off the bat. You know, it's perfect.
So good. That's what I think with her album. I think every song is literally so strong. Like, I think they're all equally strong, in my opinion, anyway. So that's what I love. Because not often I open an album and I think every song is amazing, but I liked every single one. Yeah.
So you said you've written a whole bunch of songs since then, in the year since you've written this EP.
Yes.
So do you have a plan for those? Is a single rollout, another EP? What's up with that?
Definitely. They're definitely more folky style. I'm really liking them. So haven't got anything produced yet. I got to pick which ones I want to use from my collection. But definitely I would love to do a sort of folk EP, but roll out a lot of singles first, because I feel like that's a great way to build traction on a project. Just, it's all about the singles nowadays. I feel like. So I think a lot of singles will be coming and not an EP for a while. But definitely and it's definitely in more of a new sound. So I'm kind of thinking of a new era of music, and
talking to myself.
Links to Leona's music and everything else can be found in the show notes. Indie Echo is a product of High Five Music, a digital production studio that brings your bedroom demos to life. If you want your music produced, mixed, or remixed, visit the link on my Instagram @High5Music, and you can follow the show @Indie Echo Podcast. Thank you for listening.